Welcome back to the 411 Podcasting Network. I am your host, Larry Csonka, and this is episode 98 of the 411 on Wrestling Podcast. You can follow us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, the 411mania.com website, any major podcasting platform around. Please make sure to subscribe to our show, share us around on social media, and if you have time, hit the thumbs up and subscribe on YouTube, hit subscribe on whatever podcasting platform you're going to use, because we would greatly appreciate it. Joining me tonight is my usual co-host, Steve Cook. Steve, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I am perfectly fantastic as far as I can tell.
That's right, I am as well, Steve. We have a lot to talk about tonight. Obviously, we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite. We're going to talk about NXT on the USA Network. To close out the show, I have some solo audio I recorded earlier to preview the upcoming ROH Weekend of shows. But unfortunately, we're not just going to hit a basic news and notes update, and it's not going to be quite as lighthearted as we usually are. We need to talk about some serious stuff to begin, Steve, and that is the coronavirus and its effect on the wrestling business.
We might make a couple jokes here and there, let's be honest with you, because when I heard you mention you're going to do some solo audio on the ROH shows coming up this weekend, I got to tell you, I thought to myself, it's like, well, okay, those shows probably won't be canceled.
Well, as of now, they're not.
And I was making that joke based off their usual attendance. You know, let's be honest, okay? I told my friend earlier, I think Impact TV, ROH TV, they'll be fine.
Yeah. So
I don't think those will be affected. No.
Yeah. So to get into this, we've talked about this before on the show. We talked about the impact in Japan. We've talked about possible impact on the U.S., possible impact on the Olympics. This is nothing we've shied away from in the past, and there's no reason to now because
it's here.
It's here, and it's not getting any better, Steve.
No, it's here. It's definitely not getting better, as we saw in the news this evening. If you're a big National Basketball Association fan, if you're big into the NBA, you're probably trying to watch some stuff tonight. The Jazz and Thunder game was a big game for seeding in the Western Conference, of course, but it wound up just before that game was about to start. But they canceled the game. They sent everybody home, and they said, you're fine, you're safe, please go home. I'm sure nobody's freaked out by that announcement. I'm sure everybody's okay with that. Yeah, we're fine. Okay, that sounds promising, sure. As it turns out, one of the Jazz players has tested positive for the coronavirus, and now the NBA has shut down their season until further notice.
That's
Not
right.
good. That's not good.
It's not. And again, we're not here to be all doom and gloom, but there is a lot of stuff we need to talk about because, unfortunately, despite the fact that ourselves and many other people here in the wrestling community have been talking about this, specifically starting with the impact in Japan because of the show cancellations.
Yeah.
There's been a big thing here in the U.S. that people living by it's not here, so it's no big deal. I don't know anybody that has it. The flu kills people. Why should I care? And that started to change when we had some cases starting up here in the U.S., Steve.
Well, even then, we had some people who were like, well, I don't know anybody who has it, so it must not exist.
Exactly, and I'm gonna name drop some fucking idiots, as I like to call them right now.
Do it.
On Twitter, in the wrestling world, we have Brian Pillman Jr. pulling the I don't know anybody card, so it must not be that big a deal. We have Bully Ray saying the real threat is people panicking. And then we have Austin Aries, of all people, talking about how the government is going to take away public assembly from us and all this stuff. Uh-huh. And then we have conspiracy theorists out there in these people's mentions talking about how the coronavirus is a hoax because it's making everybody forget about Brexit, America versus Iran, Trump's impeachment, protests in Hong Kong, North Korea developing nuclear weapons, the fires in Southeast in Africa. It's just a big misdirect, Steve, because, quote these people, I don't know anybody that has it. Well, you know what, Steve? I've never been to this mythical place I've heard about in TV and books called Africa, so that fucking continent must not exist either.
Darn right.
And don't get me wrong, I will freely admit that there has been overreaction. There are people buying hand sanitizers and apparently drinking it to cleanse themselves, and apparently coronavirus starts in your ass because there's an insane run on toilet paper.
Yeah, you can't find that stuff anymore. There's nowhere to be found.
So, unfortunately, there are extremes here. There are people that don't believe it's anything, and there are people that are going insane and hoarding shit already. And, we talked about Japan, and we will talk about that, but Italy has extended the emergency coronavirus measures. They restricted and banned public gatherings in the entire country. Later on, they announced a lockdown quarantine in parts of the country because there have been over 400 virus-related deaths at the time of this recording. Obviously, could have changed. And on March 10th, it was also announced that all upcoming professional soccer games in Spain, France, and Portugal, as well as some in Germany and the European Championship qualifying match in Slovakia, are going to be played in empty stadiums because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So we're having a fucking normal one, right? Because all these big sports franchises and leagues just love losing money.
Oh, they do. They love not having fans in town. So, sure, yes, buddy. Absolutely.
So the CDC and World Health Organizations have issued warnings, travel advisories, urging against huge public gatherings, reminding people about the basics like washing your fucking hands.
Yeah, God forbid. And
and if you've been in contact with anybody, fucking don't. Stay away. Don't go near elderly and the young. And to amplify how serious it's getting, Steve, Coachella has been postponed. South by Southwest has been canceled. E3 has also been canceled.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, Steve, I don't want to get into like the doctoral, medicinal value of all this because I'm not a doctor. I just kind of play one on the internet. We're here to talk about the impact on professional wrestling. So, Steve, just knowing what we know from that opening, what is just your general feeling first on this as a person?
As a person, it's not great. As a person who works at a couple places based off of the public going and doing things, one of my jobs is over at the Great American Ballpark with Cincinnati Reds, and I've already given up hope of that season starting on time, or for that season starting on time with fans and tents. That's not going to happen. Mike DeWine's already shut down fans attending things in Ohio. I don't think that's going to end anytime soon. So I've already decided, you know what? I'm probably not going to be getting bills. I'm not going to be getting any paychecks from those folks anytime soon. That's not going to happen. So baseball is going to be freaking weird. And as far as wrestling goes, since this is a wrestling show, we're here to talk about professional wrestling. Let's be honest. We sit online, you and me, Larry. We don't go to a lot of these big shows. I don't know. You've never been to WrestleMania, right? I don't think you've been to that. You and me, we've not done WrestleMania weekend. We haven't done the AEW weekend. But you and I both know. We both know a lot of people who have. We know a lot of people who come home from those shows. And you know what? It seems like every time those big shows happen, a lot of people end up sick. Am I wrong?
The WrestleMania flu, brother.
The WrestleMania flu, the AEW flu, whatever it is. Whenever all these people get together. All these people who don't go out in public very often, all these people who don't have great public hygiene to begin with, and I'm not, I guess I can insult them, am I? I think I kind of am insulting these people. But, a lot of these people are not great with personal hygiene. Let's be honest. It is what it is. They don't get out in public very often. So I got to tell you, going down to Tampa Bay at the end of March, beginning of April, that sounds like the worst fucking idea in the world to me, honestly.
And I don't disagree. And Steve, obviously, I'm married, I have kids. I worry about this stuff because, as we all know, I haven't exactly been the bastion of health over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
The whole lost a leg thing and everything. But my wife is a school teacher. My kids are in school. And I worry enough about them coming home and being sick and me getting sick as it is. And, my wife had pneumonia at the beginning of the year. Hannah and Alex have both had ear infections. Alex, unfortunately, we just found out, has to have her tonsils out next week because that's been part of her problem. But, I worry about this from just a basic human standpoint of what is going on in the schools. There have been reported cases in North and South Carolina. So, like, you know, are they going to, like, bring this home? Or are we all going to get sick? That's the shit I worry about. And as far as my profession goes, obviously there's a lot of impact on the wrestling business. And we're going to start in Japan, Steve, because due to where the coronavirus started, the Japanese wrestling scene was hit first and hit the hardest.
Yeah.
Had multiple show cancellations through many promotions. Now, financially speaking, New Japan and Stardom, who have canceled several shows, Stardom even ran an Empty Kurricane show, they've canceled tons of shows, including the New Japan Cup, all of it, the anniversary show. But the thing is, New Japan and Stardom are going to be fine because they're owned by Bushiroad. They don't live hand to mouth. Also, in theory, Noah and DDT should be fine since they're owned by Cyber Agent. They have deep pockets as well. So, in those cases, the promotions are fine, but the people that are going to suffer are the lower card talent who are not on guaranteed deals.
Oh, yeah.
So, that is going to be the problem for those wrestlers that don't get booked and may not be booked to anybody else. Promotionally, they will be fine, but it's going to be the smaller promotions that suffer. The hand-to-mouth promotions. We already talked about Wrestle 1 shutting down. That was not due to the coronavirus. That was due to poor financial stability. Comparatively to the promotions owned by the conglomerates, you have smaller companies like All Japan and Dragon Gate, and I know some people are going to get upset when I call them smaller because they do draw well at times, but compared to the companies that have giant financial backing, they are smaller ones. Then you have like fucking Big Japan Pro Wrestling, who is technically quote-unquote a major promotion. They're not canceling shows.
Okay.
They're just fucking running shows. It's going to be 2024. The coronavirus is going to be all over the world. Big Japan Pro Wrestling is still going to be running Cork in 20 days a fucking month, okay?
Is John Zandig be working those shows?
I don't know.
I would mark out for that. Not going to lie.
But what this does is it points to me that it's the potential is there that the smaller promotions are going to be unable to survive if they don't run. Because attendances have been bottoming out for a lot of the smaller promotions. And you have this corona crisis now. You have people that are afraid to go into public, which is probably not going to help things out.
No.
So, I mean, that's very problematic. And again, wrestling isn't the big picture, but we're talking about it in a wrestling context because that's our jobs. And I think that the bottom line for me is that if this isn't contained soon, and I say with no exaggeration here, if it isn't contained quickly, this could be a catastrophic impact on the Japanese wrestling scene in terms of ruining the careers of many and obviously sending a lot of the lower level promotions out of business. Again, that's not a big picture problem, but in terms of wrestling, that could be extremely damaging to the overall Japanese scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to tell you, when I was watching AEW tonight, I saw some folks on that show like Bea Priestley, for example, who's been a staple in Japan for a while now.
She lives in Japan with Will.
Yeah, exactly. Will Ospreay, her lover, if you will, and she's over in America right now, and she'll probably be over here for a while now, right? Is what I'm thinking.
I mean, could be possibility, yeah.
Which might mean things for her, might mean things for Will. There's be a lot of personal fallout here. Like Cheetah, of course, over here in AEW, and she might be over here for a while. So it's a tricky situation. Of course, as we're talking about this is a wrestling show. We're talking about wrestling business, and we've been talking about this whole NXT Japan business, and this definitely throws that whole thing into flux as well, because this definitely makes that whole business less likely that they would have NXT in Japan by the end of the year, which I've been saying they would. But as long as this keeps going on, less likely it's looking for NXT in Japan.
And that was one of the reasons I said that it wouldn't happen this year, is because you had this, there was no timetable, there was already concerns about the Olympics, plus there was already political hurdles WWE had, which is why they were going to Inoki and others to try to kind of smooth some of that out.
So did Akiyama get over here in time?
I have no clue.
Let's hope for his sake. But then again, who knows?
So, but I mean, yeah, it's this is going to have obviously ripple effects all over, and there's a ton more we're going to get into, because the next thing we have to talk about is WrestleMania weekend, WrestleMania week.
Yeah.
And I think it's safe to say that this has become the biggest wrestling week of the year.
No doubt.
You have WrestleMania, the Hall of Fame, SmackDown, TakeOver, WrestleMania, and Raw, all put on by the WWE within a 5-day span. That does not even count the Access events. And there are people right away, they're going to say WWE will never cancel the shows. And I partially agree, because if left up to WWE and Vince's own devices, he's going to run those fucking shows.
Oh, goddamn right. He would run the shows, no doubt.
But the thing
I think what we have is in mind here is,
But the thing is, it might not be up to them, because in Japan, the government got involved, which is why New Japan bowed out of all those shows. And obviously, if they can't run WrestleMania week, it's going to be a blow to WWE. Don't get me wrong. They're going to be fine financially because they have $2 billion in TV deals. But canceling Mania week would be something that nobody saw coming in the past.
No.
And would completely disrupt the year for them on several levels. So for those of you that say that there's no way it happens, the NBA was, prior to announcing that they were suspending the season, they were discussing scenarios that included moving games to cities that haven't had any outbreaks, including opponent arenas, neutral sites, and also cancellations or empty arena games with only essential personnel.
Yep.
If Mania week is canceled, postponed, moved, it's not only going to disrupt WWE's schedule, but it's going to hurt the host city, because, as we all know, over the past couple years, WWE has a regular economic impact on these cities of well over $100 million due to all the people coming in. It's a gigantic international travel week.
Yeah, Tampa's looking forward to that shit. No doubt.
Exactly. And if the government possibly just locally gets involved, that could lead to the cancellation.
And they might have no choice but to get involved.
Exactly, because it becomes a public safety issue. So WWE is obviously looking into things. They had recently instituted a no-touching rule during the superstar signings and appearances,
which is a good idea. Let's be honest.
And
some of y'all freaks out there, kind of creepy. Yeah,
that's right. But they have been steadfast that they're committing to hosting WrestleMania 36 next month. That they're monitoring the situation, and again, I see no way that they're going to voluntarily bow out of this. There's too much on the line. Vince refuses to budge under pressure. So if it happens, it's going to be because some form of government pressure and or Tampa is having an impact on this. And
it's because Donald Trump tells Vince it has to happen. That's what it's going to come down to.
Pretty much like the Saudi Arabia thing when they said they were thinking about not running there, and then Donald Trump said it was okay, basically. So they were like, all right, we're running it.
Yep, pretty much.
But again, Steve, it's not just WWE we have to think about. There's approximately like 4,300 fucking independent events happening over WrestleMania week.
Only 4,300 feels like more.
So if WrestleMania week is canceled, postponed, or moved, it's like, are these shows going to happen? Will anybody make the trip for these shows?
It feels like the group that's part of the collective group. Is that what they're, like the GCW, those group? It feels like they're in for a long haul.
It does.
Like those groups are advertising the heck out. They're saying they're going to be there.
So, because the other thing you have to consider with these smaller companies is the investment for them is much different because of the budgeting and their financial status. There are tickets, flights, and hotels that are purchased and booked, and in theory, some of those are non-refundable. Now, the indie shows may be able to get around if there is a, quote, big event banning and fly under the radar, because a lot of these shows aren't going to be big.
They won't draw a lot. Some of them won't. Yeah.
And some of these companies, WrestleMania week is an absolute goldmine and a windfall for the year for them.
For the whole year.
Sets them up financially. But
they can book people.
And again, on the flip side, though, there are also shows every year that completely lose their asses. Not everybody is Joey Janela's Spring Break drawing over 3,000 people.
No, there are some shows that bring in a lot of people and don't draw shit. That's right.
So, and many of these companies may fall into that same category as the smaller Japanese promotions and may not be able to afford not running. So when you consider the indies for these shows, there are a lot of likely non-refundable things going on. There's a lot of event-specific merchandise manufactured, which they would lose a ton of money on. So again, this could be very destructive, and not to be use hyperbole and stuff, catastrophic for these smaller promotions who count on WrestleMania as that big windfall for the year.
Absolutely, and to a point as far as that goes, it also could be catastrophic to certain professional wrestlers who are looking towards WrestleMania weekend to be in the weekend that they stand out, that they get noticed, that they get signed by WWE or AEW or somebody else. They come in, people from all across the planet fly in for this stuff, from Australia, from Japan, from England, from wherever. They all come into this weekend. They're all looking to get noticed. They're all looking to get signed. And I feel bad for those people, because this is a weekend where you think that, maybe somebody will notice them. Maybe they'll get signed. Like our good friend, I know our good friend Shazza McKenzie is hoping for that. This was a big year for her, where she thought that she could come in here and she could get signed after having a big weekend, and now it's not looking like it's going to happen. So I feel bad for people like that, but at the same time, it kind of is what it is, and I don't know what to say about it. It's a bad situation.
Yeah, and again, I want to clarify, we're not trying to make this out as a woe is me wrestling fans, wrestlers thing. I mean, I feel bad for these people if everything gets fucking shut down. But again, public safety is a more important thing. You're to have hundreds of thousands of people coming in for WrestleMania weekend, and it's just, it'll impact them when they go home, the people at Tampa, the wrestlers. It's just, you can't judge how bad this could get. Now, according to various rumors and or reports, as you would expect, WWE is trying to set up contingency plans in case they have to cancel, postpone, or move Mania.
Hold on. What's the situation in Saudi Arabia like?
Yeah, really, God.
Well, I think that might be where it's all heading. I'm just saying.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it, but there are rumors of a possible postponement to the summer, or even making the upcoming Madison Square Garden show into WrestleMania, just to get it out of the way, so to speak. But
because New York City doesn't have any coronavirus.
Yeah. But I mean, the concerns are obviously real. They're looking into it. We've talked about it a ton on these shows. But as we get closer to Mania, I mean, I didn't quite think we'd be this deep into talking about a potential cancellation or postponement of the biggest weekend of the year, but here we are, Steve, and we're here because the World Health Organization has declared that the coronavirus is now classified as a pandemic.
Which it is.
The NCAA has announced that all the championship games, including the Division I men's and women's basketball tournaments, will take place with only essential personnel and limited family in attendance.
At least for now.
Yeah. And this is notable because there were first and second round matches scheduled for the same arena where WWE is going to hold Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Yeah.
So the evidence is building, and the speculation can be more real now. This is just not flying off the seat of our pants.
No, I wish it was. I wish we were all being speculative and just pulling stuff out of our ass and saying, oh, man, this won't happen. Oh, But, as much as we would like to be blowing things up, we're not really blowing things up. This is kind of a serious situation. It's not great.
Now, the City of Tampa and Visit Tampa Bay Twitter accounts have made a public statement today stating that as of now, WrestleMania 36 is planned to move forward, stating WrestleMania 36 currently remains on the schedule. If you have any additional questions, please reach out to fanservice@wwe.com for more details. But later in the day, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor was on the radio, 102.5 FM, which was WDVE back up in Pittsburgh, stating that while they hope to hold the event as planned, they are still assessing the situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do. You can still... you have to play this by ear right now. You can say, oh, WrestleMania will go on as planned right now, but you don't know. No one know what happens a week from now or 2 weeks from now. And I'm just glad that I'm not going down there, to be honest with you.
And if I'm being completely honest, Steve, again, speaking in terms of people traveling, in terms of the wrestlers, in terms of the people in Tampa, in terms of being a father with 2 kids and a wife in the public school systems, this is overall a very scary situation.
Yeah.
people don't know how to handle it. I mean, again, you have people going to extremes one way or the other.
Yep.
And, I guess it's fine to say that, it's fine. People are sheep. They're fear mongers. More people die each day from X, Y, or Z to make themselves feel better. But that's all you're going to do is make yourself feel better. Yeah, you may be fine. You may survive and you may fucking thrive and live to 100. But what if you carry it to somebody who is impacted very negatively? What if you take it to a small child? What if you take it to an elderly person? Yeah. What if you go visit your fucking Grams and she ends up dying because you were a dumbass?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think people should fucking go to extremes, but I also think you need to take this seriously. Now,
I mean,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
And I know you were pointing out Brian Pillman Jr., and I point out to you that his father, Brian Pillman Sr., probably would have had the same kind of opinion he did, let's be honest. That guy was all about conspiracy theories. He was all about the right-wing kind of nonsense. He probably felt the same way Brian Jr. did. So I understood why he did what he did. I understand that some of these people are completely what's the word I'm looking for?
Tone deaf?
Yes, tone deaf, dumbasses, whatever you want to throw out there. Some of these people just don't understand what the hell's going on. But and I think there's a lot more people in the wrestling business than we can care to think about. But
well, Steve, listen, I love professional wrestling, but there are a lot of fucking stupid people in and around this.
There really are. Let's be honest. Yeah, there really are.
So, Steve,
as much as I love Flying Brian back in the day.
That's right.
Let's be honest. Not smart. Not the best gene pool there. Let's be honest. And you can probably speak more about Brian Jr. than I can, but yeah, not the best gene pool there.
He's an average mullet, man.
There you go. Oh, man. Nothing worse than an average mullet.
So, again, to kind of amp up the speculation and possibility that this could be canceled, President Donald Trump announced that effective Friday at midnight, all travel from Europe to the U.S. is suspended, not including the United Kingdom. Again, like Steve mentioned,
which has more cases of coronavirus than a lot of the European countries, but let's ignore that. Let's sweep that under the rug. It's all right.
Yeah, I know. I don't get the theory on that, but anyway.
Well, what's to get about any of his theories? Let's be honest here. Sure. And you can yell at me about that if you want. If you're a Donald Trump supporter, yell. Well, go fuck yourself.
Again, like you mentioned, Steve, the NBA has posted the rest of the season following the Jazz Thunder game. The Jazz and Thunder were quarantined, and Gobert is the one who tested positive for coronavirus. And as we were talking before we went on the air, WWE has reportedly pulled the plug on Friday's SmackDown in Detroit and is apparently going to record and air 205 Live and SmackDown from the Performance Center.
All right, then. See, I posted out on Twitter earlier in the day. I was not being completely facetious where I predicted that WWE would start holding all their events in Performance Center, and that AEW would have all their events in Matt Hardy's backyard.
The Hardy compound would be.
The Hardy
awesome,
compound has hosted events before. Let's be honest.
That's right.
Okay, it could happen.
So, and I guess to kind of close out on my side, Steve, is as I've tried to state, I really don't like to deal in extremes and hyperbole. I think it becomes ridiculous and you sound uneducated. But I also feel that at this rate, at the rate things are growing and spreading, that hard choices have to be made. I know that it'll ruin months of planning from the companies, for the fans traveling, the city logistics. Companies and fans, along with myself, are going to lose money. So I don't say this with any reckless abandon. But bottom line is, I am full on team cancel WrestleMania week, simply for the fact that it feels like the responsible thing to do.
I don't disagree with that at all. And I know, like you said, it's a main source of fun for a lot of people. And I know a lot of you out there were hoping and praying that it would continue with WrestleMania because you had nothing else to pray about, apparently. But none of my business, folks. But it's not looking great for that. It's not looking good for a lot of stuff coming up. And I've been kind of wondering myself, a little segue, if you will, into our next big conversation. With AEW Blood and Guts coming up in Newark, is that going to end up happening, is what I've been wondering.
I mean, there's a lot of speculation to be had on what's going to happen with future live events, period. I mean, and we don't know a lot more. I mean, I think the big tilting thing will be what happens with Mania Week, because if something happens with Mania Week, they're going to have to adjust and do different things with these shows.
Yeah.
And that goes for WWE, AEW, and everybody.
Everybody. It's not a conversation we'd like to have, ladies and gentlemen. I think we prefer to be talking about anything else. Well, not anything else. I mean, Raw is pretty bad. We don't want to talk about that.
I mean, yeah.
That's me joking. I'm joking here. I'm joking.
Trying to lighten things up. That's right.
Yeah, lighten things up. I'm making a joke about Raw sucking. Okay, let's calm down, guys.
So, but that's kind of what I wanted to say about it. And I plan on dropping a column here on Thursday. It'll probably be up by the time you guys hear this. But
it's tough to write about stuff these days, man. It's tough to come up with columns, with all this stuff in the news, all this stuff going on. It's tough. Tough to light things up. Like I did a top 5 wrestling insects column. Based off the death, we had the death of Eric Rowan's wrestling insect.
That's right. The Thanagarian snare beast was killed.
Oh, good God! What the hell was that whole angle? What was that deal? What were they trying to do?
Okay, I don't know what the hell they were trying to do, but here's the worst take I saw on this. Right? Why is Drew McIntyre a babyface when he killed the pet of a mentally handicapped person? Since when is Eric Rowan fucking mentally handicapped in storyline?
Yeah, he's supposed to be a genius solving Rubik's Cubes and whatnot a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, and he was like the one who masterminded the whole attack on Roman Reigns, and like, what the fuck?
And he was the one guy that Daniel Bryan saw any type of intelligence in.
Yeah, so that was like the worst take I saw all week.
Yeah, because
besides the idiots guy. With coronavirus bullshit. But
well, yeah, fuck those guys, but yeah, Rowan is a smart character. But man, that angle, I don't know what the hell they were thinking, all this shit. And I guess they decided to kill it off on Monday night with Drew McIntyre stomping the tarantula. So
hey, Drew killing people is okay with me, and spiders included.
Yeah, I don't blame him for killing Spider. So, I'm not a big Spider fan. No.
So again, there are times like we don't like to get like super deep on this show. I mean, but sometimes there is important stuff you need to talk about. There was some news I wanted to talk about. I thought about talking to Steve about getting his thoughts. I was going to go through the Wrestling Observer year-end awards to get Steve's take on it, but we can do that another time.
We can do that another time. We can talk about Rob Gronkowski another time once he debuts.
That's right. We can
talk about that all another time. Yes, sir.
So there was some more important stuff to talk about, but we will get back into the swing of things now, Steve. And it's time to talk about AEW Dynamite March 11th, 2020.
Yeah.
We started off backstage where Hangman Page was talking about facing Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho tonight with his mystery partner due to Kenny Omega.
Sucks gods.
That's right. Due to Kenny Omega being injured, the Young Bucks were there. He mocked them for kicking their asses, wasn't going to pick one of them. And he walked off, and the Bucks wondered if he was going to team with that prick. Which ended up just being a tease because they obviously weren't talking about who his partner ended up being later.
Well, no, hold on. I think you actually. I hate to correct you here because I think it was Matt who asked Nick, "Are you going to team with that prick?"
Oh, was it? Okay, it's my fault.
Yeah, because Adam was burying Matt there, and I guess that's who the personal issues with there between Adam and Matt. And Matt was to Nick like, "You're not going to team with that prick, are you?" That's
right.
what happened.
Okay,
so I hate to correct. Yeah.
That's right. I appreciate
Nobody's
it.
calling Dustin. I already spoiled it, but nobody's calling that guy a prick. No.
I would hope not.
No.
So we started off our night in the ring with Cody versus Ortiz, Steve. And Cody ended up winning at 11:35 via submission. Yeah. First of all, I thought not only did the match make sense coming out of last week's angle, but it also served as part of the build to Blood and Guts with the Elite versus the Inner Circle. I thought the match was really good. It was fun and competitive. Ortiz got to look good. Also during the match, Lance Archer made his debut, arriving with Jake Roberts in the crowd.
Yes.
He got a really good reaction.
Yes, he did.
Yes,
he did. People liked it.
I liked the follow-up to that, and I think the thing I liked most about the follow-up was Archer was not involved in the finish. This was just Lance Archer is here. He's with Jake Roberts. He's scouting Cody. This is all you need to know.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really good. And then, of course, post-match, we had an angle where Santana attacked. Matt and Kenny ran him off. Jericho arrived on the big screen and said in 2 weeks he's going to beat the hell out of the Elite. They ran into Nick Jackson backstage, which is why he wasn't there. And we found Nick Jackson laid out with his head crushed by one of those fucking retracting garage doors.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. They killed him. They killed him.
The Elite ran backstage to check on Nick as he was stretchered out. Cody and Matt followed in the ambulance to the hospital. And conspicuous by his absence, Hangman Page.
Of course he was. Why would he be around for that? But, yeah, it was an interesting situation. And the one thing we saw with Lance Archer and Jake Roberts, the big point of that was there was a point in the match where Cody did dive to the outside. And Lance Archer put one of his legs over the barricade. And Jake Roberts was like, no, not yet, not yet, not yet. They're just kind of teasing Cody there. Kind of teasing.
Yeah. And I really like that.
Play for later on.
I thought overall, opening the show-wise, really effective match and segment and stuff. Just checking a lot of boxes, getting a lot of stuff done. And the thing is, like, Lance Archer can actually talk a little bit, but I kind of love him as the unhinged monster that Jake Roberts is going to control. Yeah. And obviously, I mean, you're to let Jake Roberts fucking talk on TV. I'm all in. So,
some of the best wrestler-manager combinations are with wrestlers that can also talk. You can go back to the days Bobby Heenan was with Nick Bockwinkel. Nick Bockwinkel could talk for himself, no doubt about it. There is no problem with Nick Bockwinkel carrying an interview. But with Bobby Heenan, it just added extra spice to it.
You are correct, and I completely. That's a great comparison, actually.
I think it's a similar situation where Lance Archer can talk. That's not an issue. But you add Jake Roberts, that's a whole different. It's a whole different ball of wax, and I think it adds lots of yaks, and it's be interesting to see how it plays out. I thought Ortiz did another good job here in a singles match. I think he's got a lot of potential there, and Cody finishing with the figure four. I like Cody using the figure four as a finish there. I like that.
Well, I like the fact that he's mixed it up because he's used Crossroads, the Cody Cutter, Cradles, and the figure four for finishes.
And they even reversed it for a minute, but Cody got back. He rolled it back, got it back on. So
that's right. So I love dudes that have an alternate finish and can finish guys in more than one way. That's one of the reasons why.
Other than roll up.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons, obviously, I think I gravitate a lot towards the Japanese style, because a lot of guys have a more than one finish that people buy into, and I think that the best thing about that is that really adds into when you have those big matches later on. Because people are going to buy the Cody Cutter, they're always going to buy Crossroads, they're going to buy the figure four because they've seen it on TV a few times now, finish people. So I just think it's a great storytelling tool that a wrestler can have in their back pocket.
You know, the one thing that kind of bugs me.
Sure.
It's a little thing that most people probably won't notice. Maybe old school people might notice. He sets it up like Ric Flair sets up a figure four, right? Dusty Rhodes had a different way to set it up. You remember back in the day where Dusty Rhodes had different ways of setting the figure four.
Yeah.
I wish Cody kind of did it that way instead of the Ric Flair way.
Well, at least he doesn't do the shitty Hulk Hogan version.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. But I just kind of wish he did the old Dusty way. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
It might be one of those things he can't unteach himself if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because like certain moves, there's a flow to it, and then you're just so ingrained in doing it that, like, as much as he loves paying tribute to Dusty, I'm sure, it's like, it might be one of those things he just can't get out of his brain, you know?
Because you've seen Ric Flair do it like 25,000 more times than Dusty. Yeah.
So next up, Steve, we had women's tag team action. Nyla Rose and Bea Priestley making her return, as you mentioned in our coronavirus
as we mentioned
talk.
Bea Priestley earlier on, yes.
Defeating Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida, 10 minutes and 5 seconds via pin. Steve, what did you think of the ladies' action tonight?
Two of the top contenders for women's championship with Statlander and with Shida, who have teamed before, but came up a little bit short here. It was nice to see Bea Priestley back in the mix, to be honest with you. We have not seen her for quite some time. It was nice to see her again. As wound up being, as the story unfolded, as Nyla got the win over Shida, which we also saw a debut of the Holy Shida chant, which I appreciate.
That was spectacular.
That was pretty good. Some good stuff there. So a lot of good action in this match. I thought Statlander and Shida looked fine. No issue there with them taking the pin. But Bea Priestley decided to attack Nyla Rose after the match and make her intentions for title known. So, some good stuff here. We'll see what's going forward. I liked it.
Yeah, I thought overall it was good. Every once in a while, I've talked about it before, B gets a little ambitious.
She does.
She had a slip or two. It was nothing bad. It didn't ruin the match. But
she did get a little funky on those ropes. She was trying to do some stuff on the ropes, and it didn't quite work out as she wanted to. But
yeah. So, but despite the little slip and stuff, I thought it was good overall. It got really heated down to stretch, as you mentioned. Crowd was into Sheeta big time, and with her being the top contender, I kind of didn't like her taking the pin. I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was the best booking decision because she was the most over woman in the match, and I thought she really made the match on several levels. So it felt very questionable beating her so soon.
It seems like they're going to go in a different direction with possibly Bea Priestley being in the mix there, which is a fine thing to do. We're far away from the next pay-per-view. So you got to kill some time with some things, and possibly a Bea Priestley program with Nyla might be something to do with it. So I'm not opposed to it. So it'll give Bea a chance to see whether she deserves to be on this level. That's
right. So next up, we had a wonderful Christopher Daniels mockumentary on the Dark Order.
Oh, this is great.
He was mimicking the infomercial with the talking head dude that we see every once in a while.
Yes.
He's talking about, are you sick of being a loser? Are you sick of being told you're a loser? Well, screw the Dark Order. And then he was talking about how the Dark Order got taken down by SCU. Yes. And then they started talking about this Exalted One and how it's all a lie and there's no Exalted One. And then he proposed matches, singles matches against Uno and Grayson, and that when no Exalted...
On Dynamite or Dark or
anywhere.
Parking Lot, yeah.
So he said, and then when no Exalted One arrives, he will be proven right.
That's right.
So I thought this was a wonderful little mockumentary. I thought Daniels killed it here. I thought it was fun.
Oh, he's great. This is great stuff from Daniels. I loved him. It's a nice theory to put out there that there is no Exalted One.
That's right.
There is people. We've been wondering for the last few weeks. Who is this Exalted One? Is it Matt Hardy? Is it this guy? Is it that guy? But then Daniels puts out there. Maybe there isn't one. Maybe there's no God. Maybe there's no Exalted One. Maybe there is no God. I liked it. Good stuff. A good way to take the angle in a little bit of different direction. Do these guys actually have an Exalted One? We've all been kind of assuming that they do. Well, maybe they don't. Maybe Uno and Stu Grayson are just talking out of their ass.
Yeah, maybe they're just full of shit.
It's very possible with those guys, let's be honest.
So we'll find out. But yeah, again, I really like this. Daniels obviously has great delivery. He's a great promo. Yeah. And I just thought the video was just a great mock of what the Dark Order does. Next up, we had trios tag action, and Steve, apparently I'm going to upset some people because you're not allowed to say trios. Because
why not?
I wrote a column on AEW's the next championship they may introduce, and I speculated on either a trios championship or a TV title. And somebody got upset and said I sounded like a snobby wrestling fan because I used the word trios, and that the Von Erichs and Freebirds never had a fucking trios match in their life. And here's the thing, okay? I'm sorry if basic wrestling vernacular bothers you people. When I do reviews, there are people when I get upset when I say the heels took the heat. Can't you just say they took control? I'm sorry, the heat is a basic wrestling term. I'm a wrestling reviewer. It's what I do. Trios is a well-accepted term. It's part of wrestling vernacular. If you get that upset over a fucking 5-letter word, I'm sorry.
Listen,
go to hell.
You know what? I mean, I'm sure that the Von Erichs and the Freebirds worked the match down towards Mexican border. So he probably had a fucking trios match. It probably got introduced to this trios match down there somewhere at some point. I was just saying.
Show me on the doll where the trios match touched you, okay? Because apparently I upset people. It's just the funniest thing. But anyway, trios tag team action. MJF.
I wish I could get worked up over something like that. I wish that. I wish things were going so fine in my world, and so fine in everybody else's world that we could get worked up over. Oh, he called it a fucking trios match. How dare you? Oh, good. I wish I could get worked up over that. Jesus Christ.
I know, dude.
This guy must live in a privileged universe, is all I can say about that.
So anyway, Steve, trios tag team action. MJF, The Butcher, and The Blade, with the Bunny and the Wardlow at ringside.
Yes.
Defeating the Jurassic Express at 12 minutes and 6 seconds via submission. We talk about guys using alternate finishers, MJF locking on the Salt of the Earth armbar finish here, which again I really appreciate. I like that. I like that he has the double cross, the old his version of the Crossroads. He has the submission. I like guys with alternate finishes. I thought it worked well here. Ripping off Marco Stunt's little arm. Luchasaurus, they actually, Luchasaurus played Ricky Morton for the majority of this match.
He did,
which felt really odd at first, but made complete sense to try to take out the big man and chop him down. He fired up later in the match. He had a great step-up tope. Not looking a day over 65 million years old. He's looking spry these days.
Yeah.
Really good stuff down the stretch with the Jungle Boy making the big comeback. Marco Stunt getting fired up.
Luchasaurus and the Butcher facing off is pretty good.
Yeah, little Hoss fight in there mixed
battle
in.
was good. Yes.
So the Blade dumped Jungle Boy. Wardlow took out the Luchasaurus on the floor. MJF finished Marco Stunt. Thought it was a really good and fun match. The Jurassic Express are wildly over, and MJF though picking up the win is the right call here.
MJF was very proud of himself for beating Marco Stunt as well.
That is right.
Absolutely, he was.
That's the best part was him being so proud of himself. He also had the I Pin
Cody t-shirt prior to the match, so MJF just working all the gimmicks. Good for him.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. This is good old-fashioned fun trios wrestling, I mean, that 6-man luchador style, that's what has gotten over in Mexico for years. It's gotten over here as well, so good stuff.
I greatly enjoyed it. And then we got a Darby Allin
video. You had
video
the bunny
package.
wooing. You had the bunny
trying
wooing
to woo the Jungle Boy. Yeah.
I think the announcers thought that the bunny was trying to distract Aubrey Edwards. Which, you know what? If the bunny wants to distract Aubrey Edwards, I mean, I'm not going to be opposed to it.
There you go. So we had a Darby Allin video package showcasing his great effort in last week's main event. And then featuring him, he had a body bag with a dummy with Sammy Guevara's face on it, which he tied to his vehicle and drug it around in a field. So apparently young Darby wants to kill young Sammy.
That feud's still going on, apparently. That's all you say about that, pretty much. Yeah, it is what it is.
Darby's a weird dude, but I kind of dig it.
Yeah. It'll work. It works for him.
Next up, we had Tony Schiavone interviewing his good friend Dr. Britt Baker.
She
obviously brought him a coffee, ran down the crowd for their and the state for their rules against coffee and alcohol, joking about wanting to bring Tony a real drink, but she couldn't.
Yeah.
She was here to shake things up and says there's a lot of high body mass index and poor oral health in this crowd, but she can help because she's a dentist,
Yep.
Says everyone here looks alike, like one big family.
Yep. Family reunion.
But, you guys can do what you want. You can be a janitor, even a dentist assistant. She will lead by example as their role model. She thanked the fans for such a great, warm reaction.
Yeah.
She got some great here. The crowd heat here. The crowd hates her, and Big Swole arrived.
Yeah.
She said Baker only talks. She hears her running her mouth. Why are you hiding behind Tony? He don't even like you.
Tony was telling her kayfabe. That's great.
And then Baker told Big Swole that the only one in your house that wrestling fans care about is your boyfriend. And Swole said, I'm married, baby. And that led to Britt Baker tossing the coffee on her and running away.
Which just goes to show a couple things. For one, that AEW even books Cedric Alexander better than WWE does. Right?
You're not wrong.
Anybody else in the world could book Cedric Alexander better than WWE can. It's ridiculous. It's a sad situation for the guy. And, Britt, she picked the wrong card to play on in that situation, of course. But I loved it. I thought this was great stuff. And people are telling me, I mean, I guess Bayley originally worked the role model gimmick. I guess she tried to be a role model. But, man, Britt does it so much better.
Britt actually gets heat doing it.
Britt she gets heat doing it. Bayley gets nothing. Nothing at all. Bad situation. But man, yeah, Britt's so great in this gimmick, and with her and Tony are just fantastic, and with Big Swole getting some heat there, that's gonna be a good match when it comes up here pretty soon.
Yeah, and
I'm looking forward to it.
I liked it overall. I thought it was good setup for the expected singles match that's going to come because they had kind of teased it before with Britt on commentary. So I like it. It makes sense. A good little segment. Again, Britt is, some say like she's going for the cheap shots here and there, but the fact is every time she's out there lately, she's been getting heat on these promos.
She's killing it. That was good, some good stuff. And the relationship with her and Tony is pretty fantastic. I love it.
It is. I like it a lot. And some people pointed out, and in many ways, it kind of feels like the old stuff that Jericho would do with Mean Gene.
Yeah.
So, and I dig that. So that led to another trios match, Steve Cook. We had the Death Triangle facing off with Joey Janela and the Private Party, Steve.
Yeah.
Death Triangle ended up winning their official debut as a unified trio. 12 minutes via pin, Steve. What did you think of our match?
I think the one complaint I would give it, because it went 12 minutes. I know why they did, because it went 12 minutes. It's supposed to fill some time. I understand why. I would have had the Death Triangle go over a little bit more strongly. I think they gave the Private Party and Joey Janela a little bit too much, to be honest with you.
I think that's a fair criticism.
I think I got a little bit too much there, but a little bit too much. And but they did get the win. They got the Death Triangle submission at the end, but yeah, a little too much for the other guys, in my opinion.
I think it's a fair criticism, Steve. I thought this was really good. I thought it was just a great kind of all-action sprint overall. Death Triangle, obviously, winning is the right call to kick off their run. Again, I feel your argument. Maybe it should have been a little less competitive, but I really enjoyed this. And overall, I think this was my favorite match on the two shows.
Not going to argue with it. I mean, I'm not going to deny it's a good match, which is kind of impressive considering this kind of stuff that NXT is trying to throw out there. Well, don't get me wrong, but pretty good match. But I would say from a booking perspective, I would have given the other guys a little bit less. But at the end of the day, the Death Triangle did stand tall. They did get their little triple submission on and look strong. And we got a little cameo at the end from the Best Friends. And, of course, the best friend, Orange Cassidy.
That's right. So continuing that little nugget there, and we'll probably get a match between those two teams in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Dustin Rhodes was dressed to fight and pissed off backstage. Declared that he was pissed off at the Inner Circle and he's going to team with Hangman Page tonight, and that they were going to go out there and do some cowboy shit against the Inner Circle.
Well, if you're Adam Page, are you going to argue against that? I wouldn't.
No. And again, love Dustin, all fired up. And that transitioned to video of Hangman Page doing curls with kegs. Because right. Obviously.
Damn right. Why wouldn't it?
So they announced the rules for Blood and Guts, which are obviously the 2 rings, 1 cage. Your basic War Games rules, but you can only win by submission or surrender, which I
can't believe it's the War Games rules. I was shocked. Oh, man.
Well, I mean, I think some people thought they might try to tweak the rules, but I like that they're going old school, and I like that they're doing submission or surrender instead of pin.
Yep, no doubt about it. Yeah, no doubt about that.
So next week, and providing there is a next week, because God only knows at this point.
Yeah,
we have the Lucha Bros facing off with the Best Friends to continue that feud.
Yeah.
A tease that the Exalted One will be revealed.
And we'll see about that.
Yes, we will see about that. And then the Elite versus the Inner Circle in a trios match with unnamed competitors with the advantage at Blood and Guts on the line. So, obviously...
I have a bad feeling about how this will go for Elite. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just
saying with the history of how these matches go, I just have a bad feeling for Elite here.
Well, my point is, unless you're Vince Russo, the heels are going to win.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Because that idiot in TNA fucking did the baby faces getting the advantage one year.
Yeah. I think, what? Goddamn Vince McMahon and WWE actually did War Games. That's how they do it.
Yeah, well.
If they actually did the actual War Games, that's how it would go. Yeah.
So we had a sit-down interview with Jim Ross and Moxley. Moxley is not cleared to compete after last week's powerbomb. I appreciate that little thing because he got powerbombed off the fucking stage, so should not be cleared to compete.
Nope.
He admitted that he was pissed off and hurt, but said he won the game in the end because he is the champion. He dared anyone to take it from him. Told Jake Hager to step up into the batter's box and not be a bitch. Said he's just another guy to him, and he's not going to miss blood and guts in 2 weeks. The Inner Circle failed to take him out, and they now have to deal with the Elite, but he'll be in their blind spots, so they should be afraid.
So it looks like we've got a little teaser for a singles match with Moxley and with Hager, and also a possible interference in blood and guts. Who knows what could happen there?
We will see what happens. Definitely set some stuff up. Again, I like the little Jim Ross interviews being mixed in occasionally. Think they're a good job. And that led to our main event, Hangman Adam Page and Dustin Rhodes facing off with Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, the
Les Sex Gods.
The Les Sex Gods, that's right. So overall, at the end of the day, Hangman Page and Dustin Rhodes defeated Les Sex Gods as Dustin hit a destroyer on Sammy and Page hit the buckshot lariat to finish it up. A good main event tag, I thought, serving as a nice backdrop for the Blood and Guts build. And then we got a pretty hot post-match angle, which was the kind of big brawl that was famous in the Attitude Era, which they've done a few times. The Inner Circle attacked. Kenny Omega made the save. He got cut off. Yeah. Jericho laid him out with the Judas effect. Cody made his return and ran wild until he got cut off and dumped by Hagar. Ortiz suplexed him on the ramp. They took Page to the stage and looked to do the powerbomb like they did to Moxley last week. Yeah. But Matt Jackson made the save, hitting super kicks and spears. He came face-to-face with Hangman Page and then gave him the middle finger like Page gave to him previously. Jericho laid him out with chair shots. Yeah. And Inner Circle stood tall, Steve.
That was the downfall right there. You know, Matt Jackson had a good thing going. He tried to make the save. He was doing some good stuff. Then he decided, I gotta be cute. I gotta flip this guy off. And sure enough, they both get destroyed. So Matt Jackson just screwing things up as usual. Let's be honest. Not great look, Matt. Come on now. Not great.
Yeah, he wasn't thinking, Steve.
No, he wasn't. He was trying to be cute. He was like, I'm gonna say today, hey Paige, fuck you, buddy. And sure enough, bam, Inner Circle takes advantage because the Inner Circle, those guys, you can't take those guys lightly. I think Matt is trying to take them lightly there for a second, but no, they're standing tall again here at the end of the show, and they're just running roughshod over everything right now. Let's be honest.
It's
a bad situation.
Yeah, so the build is on for Blood and Guts, and we'll talk a little more when we do our kind of head-to-head wrap-up.
Yeah.
And that is going to lead us to NXT for the night, Steve.
From the Performance Center.
Yeah. Now, first of all, before we get into the show, what did you think about the presentation from the Performance Center?
I didn't notice much of a difference, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I'll
be honest, I did not notice that much of a difference.
Well, that's the thing, and people were really worried about this for NXT. Now, obviously, it's going to feel different when you do SmackDown from there.
Yeah.
Because you're used to a bigger crowd. Yeah. But the thing is, NXT at Full Sail holds, I believe, roughly 400 people. So if you had 200 or 300 in the Performance Center, it's not that big of a difference. I thought they shot it well. And again, you have a lot of those regulars there that like being there, so I thought it was fine.
It felt like a typical NXT episode.
Yeah, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I know some people were complaining about it, but I thought it was fine. Again, it may feel very different for SmackDown, and we're going to find that out on Friday.
You might well get used to a lot of these shows being aired from Performance Center, I'm just saying.
We may have to.
Yeah. Get used to it, folks. I'm just saying.
So, NXT started off with the NXT North American Champion Keith Lee facing off with Cameron Grimes, Steve.
Yeah.
Keith Lee defeating Cameron Grimes in 12 minutes via pin. What did you think of our opener?
No surprise there. You expect Keith Lee to go over there, and Cameron Grimes got some time to shine. He did okay. Did some stuff, but at the end of the day, it's all about Keith Lee doing his thing, running tall. And at the end of the day, he did that, and we saw Mr. Dijakovic making the save after the match, and some shenanigans happen.
Yeah, I thought it was a good opener. I thought it was a fun little defense for Keith Lee as we're building the takeover. Like you said, I thought Cameron Grimes got to look again here on TV. The only kind of criticism is I wish that These guys are really good, and I wish they would have been booked to allow them to kind of get into that next gear. Because they can definitely have a better match. But, I mean,
that's TakeOver.
True, but I mean, I'm not saying give them 20 minutes. I'm saying like 15 and let them get a little hotter of a close, you know? I mean, I think it could have been a little better if they would have allowed them to. But again, it's a good TV match. I have no real complaints about it. And as you mentioned, post-match, Damian Priest jumped Keith Lee from behind. Dominic Dijakovic made the save. And again, we're teasing a possible rematch or a triple threat at TakeOver, Steve.
All right, triple threat, if I had to guess, just to kind of shake things up a little bit, because I don't think we want the same old singles match. It might be a triple threat, Damian Priest, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and I kind of want it to be a triple threat because, like, the thing is...
Just to shake things up.
Yeah, Lee and Dijakovic will be a great match if they have another match, but I don't know if I want to see it this soon again. Yeah. So if you do a triple threat, like I said, it mixes things up a little bit, so I'm digging it. Next up was a number one contenders qualifying match for the ladder match at TakeOver over WrestleMania weekend. Mia Yim defeated Dakota Kai 9:45 via pin. Yeah. Raquel Gonzalez tried to get involved at various points. I thought it was a good little match. Mia Yim is really good in ladder matches. I thought her win came off as a slight surprise because Dakota Kai just built up momentum following her wins over Tegan Nox. So a little bit of a surprise result overall, I think, but I thought it was a good match. And post-match, Raquel Gonzalez laid out Mia Yim with a powerbomb because she's a poor sport.
I was more surprised after... I kind of thought that they might leave Dakota Kai out of the ladder match for other reasons. Then I was more surprised after other match results, as we'll get into.
And I agree.
Yeah, I think you know what I'm saying there, because yes. I thought there might have been another match with her and somebody else that might, be another match to take over, but apparently not. Apparently that's not going to happen, so it is what it is. But, Mia Yim is fantastic in ladder matches. She's CZW product, so I have no problem with that. And nice long match, and I never have a problem with Raquel Gonzalez, so I'm saying about that.
There you go.
Yeah.
We got another one of the little cryptic videos, which maybe or may not be for Killer Cross. I'm sure we'll find out eventually.
Yeah, who knows? Who cares?
Kushida up next, defeating Raul Mendoza at 4 minutes via submission with the flying armbar off the ropes.
This was a thing.
I thought it was a short, solid, and fun little outing, and it's nice to see Kushida picking up a win.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine for a win, fine for a match or whatever. But what the hell happened after the match? What was? We have guys with Matt.
That's later. That's later. Don't ruin it.
Oh, well, I think people know already. But
we got to talk about it later. I have jokes.
All right. Okay.
So earlier today at the Performance Center, Tyler Breeze was being interviewed. Austin Theory interrupted him, joking about watching him on Breaking Ground when he was in high school.
Which was 2 years ago, let's be honest.
And says, some people in the PC don't pan out like Tyler Breeze. Breeze then took a picture of him and said that he looked good for a flash in the pan. Obviously, setting up a match probably for next week.
I liked it. That was good.
Yeah. Good little setup, and Breeze is a good guy for Austin Theory to work with.
Yeah. Damn right he is. That'll be a good little match.
Right, I agree. We got a WrestleMania build segment next with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. Rhea Ripley arrived, said Charlotte needs to have a better game plan to get in her head. She's going to beat her royal ass at Mania, which led to Charlotte arriving. She shut down the "you don't go here" chance by saying she made here. Puts over Rhea, but says it's going to be too much too soon for her to be facing Charlotte. Charlotte's just too much for her to handle because she'll drown her in the deep waters. Rhea attacked, they brawled, and Charlotte ended up laying her out by slamming her knee off the post and using the old posted figure 4 to stand tall.
Yeah. Shades of her father, Bret Hart.
That's right. I appreciate that.
Either way.
Going back to what Steve was talking about earlier, outside, 2 men in masks kidnapped Raul Mendoza. And my only thoughts were, I hope they're not the same guys that kidnapped Samoa Joe all those years ago, because if so, Raul Mendoza's coming back with a penis painted on his face.
Yeah, well, maybe it will. And to be honest, do I care? No, I don't.
It'll be interesting. They may be forming like a little lucha faction with the former Phantasmo, who's been working the Largo loops and stuff now. And
who do you think the mask guys are?
I think they're lucha dudes.
Lucha dudes.
I think one of them is I I don't know what the fuck his Phantasma's name is now. It's like Jorge Ballas or something.
Jorge. I mean, ask a Cubs fan about that. He could tell you.
Yeah, I forget what they changed his name to, but
yeah, whatever.
Anyway, we had another number one contenders qualifier with Tegan Nox and Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah.
Tegan Nox defeated Deonna Purrazzo 2.5 minutes via pin, Steve.
That went pretty quick. Quicker than a hiccup, to be honest with you. I was ready to mark out for Deonna Purrazzo watching the AEW show and using the MJF Salt of the Earth armbar. I was marking out for that. And, she lost soon after that, so it was a match.
And to go back to what you were saying...
She deserves better.
Yeah, I wish she'd get more, too. I expected Tegan to lose this after Dakota did, too, because I thought maybe we'd get a singles match with them at TakeOver, but apparently that is not in the cards right now, Steve.
Apparently so. I mean, no offense to Tegan. I'm not hating on her at all, but I do think Deonna deserves a little bit better than 2.5 minutes squash. I'm not going to lie.
I do, too, and I think the one thing we did learn from this match, Steve, is don't fuck with Lady Kane.
Nah. A fair point.
The Undisputed Era arrived after another creepy, possibly not Killer Cross video. They arrived, Velveteen Dream interrupted from like the little wacky podium deal. And said it's always been about Adam Cole. He didn't care about Roderick Strong or his family. They were just on his tights and shit like that.
I gotta tell you, he came out... You know what? When I was watching this and I saw Velveteen Dream delivering these lines and whatnot, I know everybody loves the Velveteen Dream online and whatnot. I gotta tell you, I have never seen this guy as being very likable. I'm sorry.
No, I don't disagree. Let me finish here, though.
Yeah.
So he said they were nothing to him but faces on his tights. He's not a vile person and never went after the family. Roddy's just dumb. Dream versus Cole at TakeOver Tampa is the main event in his eyes. Cole then reminded him that he lost last week because he was an idiot and hadn't earned a title shot.
Okay, thank goodness somebody else besides me recognized that. Okay.
So, and then Cole said that next week he's going to host his championship celebration as he becomes the longest reigning NXT champion in history. Now, to go back to Velveteen Dream, Steve, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I saw a lot in Velveteen Dream before he got injured. Since he came back, haven't felt the same stuff. I feel the character's all over the place. I'm not feeling it. I get why they're doing the main event, but I'm just like, I'm not nearly as excited as I should be for a TakeOver main event with him right now.
He doesn't seem like a very likable character. I'm sorry. I mean, the way he comes off, and I've been telling you that during this whole Roderick Strong storyline, he's working the freaking Rick Rude gimmick where he wears the wife on his tights, and that's not good. That's not what a good person does. I'm sorry. I'm just not built to accept that as a good guy. I mean, I guess some people are. I guess some people do like that kind of thing for whatever it is. But and then, of course, last week he fucking decides, oh, I'll deliberately lose this match so I can get my hands on Adam Cole. But to be honest, if you're trying to get a world title shot, you should not be losing matches. I don't get it. I'm sorry. This NXT stuff, maybe it's a little too complicated for me to understand. I don't know. A little too old school, I suppose.
So, by the way, WWE has released a statement to ESPN regarding the rumors of SmackDown on Friday. Okay. They state in the statement, WWE has not canceled Friday Night SmackDown in Detroit. However, based on the current situation, we are putting contingency plans in place in the event that upcoming WWE shows are affected.
Okay.
So, and I think that's...
There you go.
Trying to open the page.
That's all you can do. Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to... Fucking this web page is taking forever to open.
I'm just going to keep bearing Velveteen Dream. I'm sorry. I mean, and the guy has had some good matches. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just saying as far as the character goes, I'm not sure why I'm supposed to like him as character. I just don't see it. From what I've seen, I've seen him have some good matches. Not just before his return. I mean, I've seen some of the TakeOver stuff. I dig it. I know he's got a lot of potential in the ring, but as far as character goes, I just don't see why I'm supposed to buy into him as a top babyface. I don't see it.
It's all over the place right now. I don't see why people would necessarily like him as a babyface.
Yeah.
So
I mean, maybe somebody explain to me. I don't know.
So the main event of the show was the Broserweights defending their tag team championships against the former champions, the Undisputed Era.
Yes.
At the end of the day, despite the grizzled young veterans trying to get involved, the Broserweights retained their titles at 20 minutes via pin, Steve. What did you think of our main event match?
I thought it was a fine display of tag team wrestling. There's a lot of stuff going on, as there usually is in these matches. I thought there's a lot of good work rate, if you will. And I thought the right team won. There is no time to take the title off the Broserweights. I don't think you need to be splitting those guys up anytime soon. I think you just keep them working that tag team wrestling shtick, if you will. And as much as I love Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, they need a little time away from titles.
I agree.
Time away from titles. It's fine. They just keep them away from titles for a little bit. Maybe doing something to those grizzled young veterans that they're pretty high on. I know that it seems like that they're over here. That somebody sees something in them, so why not have those guys work for them? I like it.
Yeah. So, as we all know, Steve, these four guys are all great. It didn't hit the highs of the TakeOver match, obviously, because it wasn't designed to be that. But I thought it was very good. I thought they delivered the best thing on the show. And with the involvement of the grizzled young veterans, it kind of feels like we're building to them for the TakeOver title shot.
I would say so. Or maybe even one of those triple threat things. They like to do those triple threat things, so we'll see how it goes. But in any event, I think we'll see some good stuff there.
And confirmed for next week, if there is a next week show, Adam Cole's championship celebration, as well as Mercedes Martinez versus Candice LeRae in a qualifying match for the TakeOver ladder match.
They're fun.
Yeah, I like that one. And obviously, I think Candice wins that one, and Candice in a ladder match is pretty awesome, so I'm in.
She'll die.
But that's what she does.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be good.
So then we got the main event segment.
Yeah.
Tommaso Ciampa arriving, stating that he wanted Johnny Gargano to come out to the ring and explain himself. And Gargano appeared on the big screen and said that Ciampa is the worst person in NXT. Why is he redeemed? He said he's done terrible things in 2017, continued to do them ever since, and he's somehow the good guy. That led to Ciampa heading to the back, finding Gargano. They brawled all around the back, through the medical room. They used crutches. They beat up a security guard. Into the workout room where they used a weight. And just brawling everywhere. And they broke a mirror. Just big ass brawl to close out the show.
7 years bad luck right there is what that is.
And it closed out with Ciampa hitting the air raid crash off of the little Velveteen Dream podium through a table below, leading to William Regal and officials arriving as the show ends. NXT dad William Regal not happy with this outcome.
Regal collect his paycheck after all these weeks.
That's right. NXT dad was not happy, Steve.
He shouldn't have been. For God's sakes, can you see any more evidence that Vince McMahon is paying attention to the show as to when we close out with a main event promo?
That's right. So, I thought it was, I don't mind them trying to do something a little different. They're pushing that feud, obviously, for TakeOver, and it made sense. But, it's not my favorite thing to end the show, but, I don't hate it either. Mixed it up a little bit. So, Steve, that is NXT for the week. And now we must do the old head-to-head comparison, Steve. Would you like to go first?
I'll go ahead and go first. I don't think either show had a knockout week. I don't think either show was on its A game, I would say. And May I was a little distracted by all the stuff going on because the world's falling apart and we're all going to hell in a handbasket. So I think we're all a little bit distracted. But I don't think either show had a great week. But I'll give the slight edge to AEW because I did enjoy that trios match. I thought that I enjoyed that main event tag team match with Paige and Dustin and Les Sex Gods. I thought that was pretty good stuff, and they're kind of moving stuff along. That damn Britt Baker promo was one of the highlights to me. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that stood out amongst anything else that happened this week. And NXT tried to do some stuff. They had a couple pretty good tag team matches, but again, I think it's one of those things where they're trying stuff, but it's not really standing out.
Yeah, I thought NXT was good overall. They continued to set the stage for TakeOver Tampa, and I thought it was an enjoyable 2 hours. I kind of agree with you, not necessarily wowed by anything. I think they're putting the pieces in place well. I thought Dynamite was another quality show. I thought it was filled with good wrestling, good angle advancement. I thought they were really putting people into the right positions as we go forward. I thought it was a good, effective, and really fun show, and I also give them the nod this week. And like you said, it wasn't like a massive, like, huge week for anybody. I don't think... I guess, like you said, nothing really wowed me on kind of either show. I did really enjoy the one trios match on Dynamite the most. Excuse me, overall. But I'm just like, I guess the best way to put it is, and I've talked about this the last couple of weeks, is just Dynamite just feels like there's more of a sense of urgency overall. And I just like how they're putting things in place a lot better. And obviously the hot crowds aren't hurting that show.
No, I mean, there's another pretty solid crowd there in Salt Lake City. That was a good old family reunion, as Britt Baker said.
That's right.
So, everybody was happy to be there. It was a good time.
Yeah, but I'm really enjoying a lot of what they're doing. And again, NXT, there are some people that are trying to paint that NXT is all of a sudden bad, and it's not a fucking bad show. Get off that bullshit. But all I'm saying...
That's not bad, but there are some weaknesses.
Yeah, no, and that's what I was going to say. Is that there are things that I think they could do better. There are things that I think AEW is doing better, and it's just... It's a personal preference thing, and right now AEW is just doing a lot for me as a fan and as a reviewer and everything.
And I do think there's more of an eyeball in NXT now than there was before when it was on WWE Network.
This is true.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I'm still enjoying the 4 hours every Wednesday because there's rarely anything bad on either show. I mean, it's a rare instance if something doesn't hit on these shows.
Yeah.
I have a good time. And again, it may not be spectacular or, maybe disappoint a little in some regards. But overall, really, really enjoyed, Steve. So
I think they should have given Deonna Purrazzo like maybe 5 more minutes or something. That's all I'm saying.
I'd like to see Deonna
There's
get
more time shine,
well.
that's all I'm saying. Come on now. She even got to hit the Saw the Earth armbar in the limited time that she had on the program, is all I'm saying.
So,
come on now.
But, Steve, that's going to wrap up our portion of the show tonight. But everybody stay tuned because I'm going to preview the Ring of Honor weekend, including the 18th anniversary pay-per-view and the past versus present event that takes place the night after.
18 years. Oh, wow.
I know. Join me this weekend because Mark Radulich will be back on the show and we will break down the ROH 18th anniversary pay-per-view.
Mark watches ROH?
He watches ROH when I ask him because he's a good brother.
I thought you just only watched shows with like 350-pound guys.
No, he watched ROH a good bit last year. He got a little disenfranchised at times, but has been trying to give it a shot with some of the.
Well, he's a Republican, so he probably likes Sinclair Broadcasting. He's probably all about that.
Steve, don't hit the politics here to get people pissy with me.
Yeah, what else is new?
All right. So anyway, I will start breaking down those shows in a moment. All right, kids, we're going to close things up this week with a Ring of Honor weekend preview. Ring of Honor has a big weekend here in Las Vegas. 2 events airing live on Honor Club. The 18th anniversary pay-per-view, as well as a past versus present event, which will be used for TV, I assume, because it's in the usual TV taping spot. So we start off things with the 18th anniversary pay-per-view taking place Friday night. Kicking off things, we're to start with Bully Ray versus Eli Isom. This all started when Bully Ray powerbombed Eli through a table back at Gateway to Honor. Isom challenged him to a match here. Bully Ray accepted, and the gimmick with Bully Ray is he's just an asshole, and he's claimed that anybody that can beat him will not only beat him, but will make him leave ROH. And if only that were to happen here, because Jesus Christ, I've had enough of this guy. I don't want to hear about he gets alleged good heat, that he's a great heel. He's not. He has horrible wrestling matches. All of his segments grind Ring of Honor shows to a fucking halt. And I have no time for this. Bully Ray's gonna win here because unless plans change, the feud is Bully Ray versus Maria Manic, and she's gonna be the one to knock him out of ROH. The thing that's gonna suck though is we're gonna have to sit through the same Bully Ray match. It's shitty. It's an ECW throwback trash match. It's gonna go on too long. He's gonna take 98% of the match. He's gonna give Eli a hope spot or two. And then he's going to go on fucking Busted Open Radio and claim that he is a great heel and that he put this youngster over. And it's going to be bad. And if I have to hear fucking "Do you know who I am" one more time, I'm going to stab my eardrums out because I have no fucking time for it. So, yeah, Bully Ray's going to win here. Again, unless plans have changed because it seems like Maria Manic will be the one to defeat him down the line. I just really have no time for this. So, unfortunately, a bad start to things. Next up, fresh off of his ROH Championship loss, PCO reteams with Brody King. They are former tag team champions. They will face Rey Horus and Alex Zane. PCO and Brody King are the more regular and experienced tag team within Villain Enterprises. They are the former trios and tag team champions in ROH and the NWA. So they're a good little team. They're fun. They're bruisers. They kick the shit out of people. Rey Horus is part of the Mexa squad, but he had to have a new partner here because Flamita is still out injured, and Bandito is challenging for the ROH TV title on this show. So this is a good spot for Alex Zane. He's young. He's flashy. He's a really fun performer. He has a high ceiling, but also room to grow and kind of improve the rough edges. He and Horus could be a really fun team here. I think it's a fun little addition to the card. And I think with PCO coming off of the world title loss that he and Brody King will win here. Especially because Zane and Horus haven't teamed before. So that should be what happens there. I think it'll be a good match and I'm kind of looking forward to it. A slightly odd addition to the card, but again, I think it has a chance to be good. We head over to the Women of Honor, the ladies battling Nicole Savoy and Session Moth Martina. Martina is really one of those wrestlers that is an acquired taste because while she's very charismatic and, you know, when she wants to work, she isn't a horrible wrestler, but she's a very gimmick-heavy wrestler. And sometimes the party girl shtick kind of really takes away from her matches. It can go off the rails kind of really quick. Whereas Nicole Savoy is, I think, a great professional wrestler. Someone I'm glad to see ROH using this year. Because they're trying to revamp this division. If they can kind of downplay Martina's gimmick a bit here, especially coming off of a loss, I think that they could have a good match. Because Nicole Savoy is really, really good, as I said. And Session Moth is not bad. She's kind of the new toy, the new signee, and I think she's going to pick up the win here. But, I could see it kind of going either way because they're very uncommittal to booking consistently in this division so far as they head into the upcoming tournament. Next up, we had a change on the show. Slex was supposed to face Adam Brooks, but Adam Brooks had travel/visa issues, kind of undetermined at this time, but it's unfortunate nonetheless. The good news is that Jeff Cobb is going to step in and face Slex. So, the thing is, it sucks losing Adam Brooks. I was looking forward to his debut. But if you're going to replace him with somebody, you really can't go wrong with Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb is really good. I think this match definitely has a chance to deliver. Slex hasn't found a lot of success in terms of wins and losses here in ROH, despite being really good in the ring so far. They're telling the story that he's struggling right now, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him take another loss here. And I think that he could possibly turn heel out of that. So we'll see what happens. Definitely should be a good to really good match, because again, Jeff Cobb's really good, and Slex has been good so far. He was definitely a good pickup. And again, the only unfortunate thing here is that the Adam Brooks debut has been debuted. So again, I was really looking forward to that. Go to tag team action next. The Briscoes facing off with Joe Hendry and Dalton Castle. This is a positioning battle for the tag divisions. You have the Briscoes, who, as I've said many times, are the greatest tag team in ROH history, and they always deliver on pay-per-view. Joe Hendry and Dalton Castle are that kind of strange bedfellows tag team that have started to gel over the last month or two after initially feuding, and they picked up some surprising wins, and they're looking for a chance at the gold here. So I think this definitely has a chance to be good. Castle and Hendry will likely give the Briscoes some struggles, but I think that the Briscoes are going to win and set up either a tag match at Supercard of Honor or Best in the World, because it seems natural to go back to them challenging for the titles eventually. Not that they have to win, but I think that you will go back to that at some point. So I'm going Briscoes here, probably a good match. Next up is what they were calling a dealer's choice match, a four-way match where the winner gets a title shot of his choice. And I like that it's not just a regular four-way survival, because a lot of times you just throw those on the show and it has no stakes to it and it lacks drama. But this one actually has some purpose here. It's Dan Moff, Shane Taylor, Kenny King, and Bateman. So Dan Moff has been really good since his return to ROH. Kenny King isn't that main event guy that they wanted him to be for a long time, but he delivers in these kind of matches. Bateman has been a strong addition to the roster so far. And I really like Shane Taylor, and I really think that a lot of people slept on his 2019, which I thought was like kind of low-level great. I think that Shane Taylor is going to win this one. It's going to play into his new contract angle, leading to, I think, a rematch with Dragon Lee, either at Best in the World or Supercard of Honor. Because, again, I think you kind of need to revisit that, because Shane Taylor lost the title and then kind of went away for a little bit before coming back with the new contract angle. So that's what I'm thinking there. ROH Tag Team Championships are on the line next. Jonathan Gresham and Jay Lethal will defend against the Villain Enterprises team of Marty Scurll and Flip Gordon. Marty and Flip take Japan. And for me, this one kind of came out of nowhere. Marty and Flip are a really good and consistent team. They've done really well together, but I wasn't expecting them to get the title shot here, because I thought it would be Cobb and Moff, because they had won a Proving Ground match. But they kind of threw us a curveball. I love Lethal and Gresham as the tag team champions. It was the right call at the time. It freshens up the division. They're a great team, and we're getting a lot of fresh matches. The thing is here is I don't see Marty and Flip winning, because Flip is going to be challenging for the ROH Championship at Supercard of Honor. Marty's going to be facing Nick Aldis for the NWA Championship soon. So I think the champions retain their championships here. They're going to run a bit longer, and again, I think we're going to get that rematch with the Briscoes sooner rather than later. And I would not be surprised to see Nick Aldis get involved in this, because he has issues with both Villain Enterprises guys, and I could see him costing them the tag titles as a way to kind of save face for Marty and Flip to not take a clean loss. Next up is the match I am looking forward to the most on this card. I could not lie if I want to. It's a Battle of the Lucha Lads. TV champion Dragon Lee versus Bandito. And unless you've been living under a rock, guys, I mean, Dragon Lee is one of the best in the world. I think Bandito is absolutely amazing. He's like a notch below Dragon Lee on the best in the world style tier of performers. But again, he's a guy that delivers. I am so excited for this. If all is right in this world, this is going to be an intense, high-octane, 15-minute sprint filled with lots of lucha things that just steals the show. It's easily the match I'm looking forward to the most on this show. And I am putting the 100% banger alert on this match as the match of the night. I think easily low-level 4 stars unless something drastically goes wrong. These guys are going to kill it. Again, I see Lee retaining. I see a rematch with Shane Taylor coming soon. But yeah, I'm digging this match. I'm all in on this fucking match. I think it will be awesome. And that takes us to the main event of the evening, the ROH World Champion Rush defending against Mark Haskins. I talked about this a few times. The PCO title win was a nice career achievement award. But I did think it was the right call to end Rush's title win when they did. But I'm glad to see him back with the championship. He wanted a gateway to honor. He pinned PCO. And since Haskins wasn't pinned, that made the title match for this show Rush versus Haskins. I've seen a lot of people down on this main event, but I highly disagree because Rush has been really good in ROH. He has that big star aura. And Haskins has been one of the most consistent performers for ROH over the last year. So I think this match is going to be really good. I think that the plan is going to be Rush and Marty Scurll at Final Battle. Rush beat PCO. He's going to face Flip and beat him. He'll probably get a match with Brody Lee on one of the Honor Club specials. So he can go through him. And that's going to lead to the match with Marty in December. Rush wins this, and I think that's where they're going. It just kind of makes the most sense to set Rush and Marty up. I think that's kind of the biggest match ROH can make right now. And I think you have almost a year to build to it, so I dig it. It would make a lot of sense. So that show is Friday night the 13th. Now, taking place, again, I will have live coverage of the show as always. So make sure you join me for that. Plus, I will have a full written preview if you didn't get enough of hearing my lovely early morning solo voice. So the next night on March 14th, ROH is running an event called Past vs. Present. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like it is a show that's going to feature current ROH talent versus ROH talent of the past. They are bringing back some interesting names for this one. Some of the matches, they're kind of skirting the past versus present thing on. Like in our opening match, it's Sumi Sakai versus Nicole Savoy, which is a match we've seen 2 or 3 times already this year. But Sumi Sakai is like 100 years old, so she fits in the ROH past. And I was joking about how many times they faced off. They're actually 1-1. The big gimmick is Allison Danger is going to be on commentary for this match, which is cool. These two have actually had good matches. I've liked the Sumi heel turn. And, it's weird. You're going to have to balance out this card because I don't think you can have everybody from the past losing. So I think since Sumi is kind of labeled as the past, she's probably going to pick up the win here. I think it can be good because, again, they've had some good outings already. And I just hope it's not overbooked. Next up, we have Mark Haskins, who should be coming off of a world title loss, facing off with John Walters. And according to the old cage match, Walters hasn't worked a match since December of 2018. He's a former ROH Pure Champion. He's been away from ROH for 13 years. So it'll be interesting to see what he has left at the tank at age 40 after not a huge layoff, but he's had a layoff. But the good news is Mark Haskins is a great dance partner. He's had great and good matches for the past year. Again, one of ROH's most consistent in-ring performers. And the only thing he's had bad in the last year was the Bully Ray match, and I think we all know who to blame for that one. So, Haskins doesn't have bad matches. He's also a great technical worker. So if they end up going with that kind of old school pure wrestling rule style, I think it'll probably be for the best, and it should be good, but I have Haskins winning this one. Next up is Dalton Castle and Joe Hendry facing off with Grizzly Redwood and the former Booker Man Delirious. Obviously a wonderfully wacky old ROH past tag team, and I already talked about Castle and Hendry on the 18th anniversary preview. Again, they're a fun, strange bedfellows tag team. And they're not bad. They've had a string of good wins, and they're getting together as a team. Delirious is not only a former ROH star, but he's the former booker who was ousted by Marty recently. He had been used sparingly throughout his booking run in the ring, mainly when they were up a talent down and didn't want to fly anybody in. Grizzly Redwood made some Ring of Honor appearances in 2019 working dark matches. And he was a lovable underdog while in the company. So he and Delirious are here for a gimmicky, fun little match. Feels like a perfect setup for Castle and Henry to pick up a win, probably coming off of a loss at the pay-per-view. And I don't expect it to be necessarily a good wrestling match, but it'll probably be fun and a change of pace. Next up, we're to go Marty Scurll and Flip Gordon, who I think will be coming off of a loss at the pay-per-view, facing off with Alex Shelley and Matt Sydal. And again, Marty and Flip, I think, are a good tag team. Alex Shelley is a free agent. He's still great. Makes a lot of appearances with ROH. Matt Sydal is still active. Had a solid but disappointing Impact run, I thought. But when he's motivated, he still has some go in his game. This one definitely has a chance to be good. Part of me thinks that I wouldn't be surprised almost to see Marty take a loss here because he's the booker and he's tried to be the good soldier. But again, I think they're losing the night before. Flip has an ROH title match coming up. He has an NWA title match coming up. So they should win this one and fucking pin Matt Sydal. He's probably not coming back. Easy peasy. Next up, this could be... this is a match I'm kind of torn on because I think it could be a lot of fun. But I'm also slightly concerned with one of the performers because I'm just not sure. Bandito and Ray Horus are going to face off with the Havana Pitbulls. This was originally going to be Bandito and Flamita, but Flamita's still injured with his knee problem. So the rest of Mexico Squad is teaming up here. They're a great team still. They've been a great addition to ROH so far. They can deliver. Rocky Romero is still very active in New Japan. I think he's still a damn good performer in both singles and tag. Ricky Reyes, many will remember as Cortez Castro in Lucha Underground. He's been working semi-regularly these days. He was really solid in Lucha Underground. So at the very least, I do think it could be good. Mexico Squad should win this match. But in theory, I could see Rocky sneaking out a win ahead of Supercard of Honor because he's a part of a team that is going to challenge for the Trios titles. I don't think that'll happen. I think Mexico Squad will win. And it's honestly going to come down to, I think, how motivated and how amped up Ricky Reyes is because I have faith in the other three. I just haven't seen a ton of him as of late. So it's kind of hard to tell. Definitely a match with potential. So I'm going to take a drink. Sorry about that. Next up, we have Jay Lethal versus Xavier. Now, the name Xavier may sound very familiar because he was one of, for many people, the most hated and panned champions in ROH history. And is a man that Jay Lethal has never defeated. And that's how we got to this match. Because back in the day, Xavier was the big star, while Jay Lethal was a fucking geek in Special K. Now, Lethal, of course, went on to become one of the biggest and most successful stars in ROH history. He's a decorated champion and someone who always delivers. Now, according to the old cage match gimmick, which I always appreciate and love to plug, Xavier hasn't worked with since 2016. So this match could be very problematic. Jay Lethal in the story wants to prove himself and beat a man that he never beat before. And he's not only going to have his working boots on, but possibly a back brace to carry things because I'm just not sure what Xavier's going to bring in 2020 when he hasn't been working a lot. And there's no doubt in my mind that Jay Lethal should win this match. Next up is Brody King versus Homicide. Brody King, obviously a member of Villain Enterprises, former trios and tag team champion, but hasn't had a ton of success or time as a singles performer in ROH. Homicide is a former ROH champion, still active, most recently working at NWA. He's also looked at by many as kind of the godfather of the New York City indie scene and responsible for getting many into and succeeding in wrestling to this day. He's been bogged down by injuries in recent years, but from time to time, he can still be Homicide, and it's really cool to see. I think there's a great chance we get that here. I think he's going to be looking to impress in this ROH return. Brody King is always really good on these shows. I think he's going to deliver. But I also think this is a match where a star from the past is going to get the win, so I'm actually going to go with Homicide picking up the win in this one. Next up, we have a pure wrestling battle as Jonathan Gresham faces off with Sir Douglas Williams. Jonathan Gresham is, as we all know, an absolutely spectacular in-ring performer, a great representative of that pure wrestling style. Douglas Williams was retired at the end of 2019. Recently came back for Noah. He was so retired that he had actually given his boots away and had to borrow a pair to work his matches. Stylistically, though, this is really a great matchup. This show, basically, they work a very similar style. It fits Williams' style, and it's something that he can effectively work at age 47. Because it's not high impact, it's not high pace. It's based just off of skill, which he still has. It's a great match to book ahead of the Pure Title tournament, because they're going to have to re-educate the fan base on that pure wrestling style. I think it'll be good. I think most importantly, it's going to be different from anything else on the card. I feel Gresham wins, but there's a small chance Williams does win because ROH is looking to get him a visa, and he is booked for the Pure Championship tournament. So I will not rule out a Douglas Williams win, but I'm going to go with my first instinct and pick Jonathan Gresham. Closing out the show after I take a drink. Sorry about that. A battle of dem boys, the brothers Mark and Jay Briscoe will main event this show. If you've listened to or read these previews for any amount of time, you've repeatedly heard me talk about the greatness of the Briscoes and their overall importance to their place in ROH. And no other match feels right for this show and main event than the Briscoes. You know, day one, Murphy Rec Center. Terry Funk didn't need no mouthpiece on this show. And despite being known for their great tag team work, the brothers have faced off against each other in singles and tags over the years. They not only have a great tag chemistry, but when they get the chance, they have good chemistry just period in the ring. Jay Briscoe still busts out great singles matches when he gets the chance, and he's just to me, he's a top-tier performer for the company. I personally prefer Mark to Jay overall as a wrestler, but I also find Mark highly underrated at times by many because he's a guy that can go and deliver when given a chance. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think they will deliver, and it just feels like a perfect match for this show. The only thing that will take this over the top is if they bring back those opposing red and black singlets to work the match. That'd be the little chef's kiss on this bad boy, so to speak. In our main event, I think Little Chicken is going to pick up the win. He's going to beat Brother Jay. And again, I think it has a chance to be a hell of a main event. I'm looking forward to it. So that is my preview for the ROH weekend. I think there's a chance for it to be a really strong weekend for them. The company has been doing a lot of good things here in 2020. They're slowly turning things around. So I think just again, if you're somebody that was really down on ROH in 2020, which I understand because I was as well, and I'm just going to say that if you were down on the promotion, try to give it a chance, especially if you do happen to have Honor Club. Just check it out, give it a chance. I think there's a chance for a lot of good matches this weekend. But that is going to finish me up for this show. And tonight, I want to thank Steve for his contributions earlier in the show. And just a reminder, this is the 411 on Wrestling podcast. You can follow us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, the 411mania.com website, any major podcasting platform. Please make sure to subscribe to our show, share us around on social media, give us a thumbs up and subscribe on YouTube because we'd love to go to the pay window. And I hope that everybody has a fantastic week. Join me this weekend for all of the wrestling coverage. And just stay safe, everybody.